Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Um, so I was gonna make this an actual video, but I decided not to because I don't want to edit it and for other reasons that I'll get into. So basically, I kind of just want to do like a quick review with spoilers of the Batman movie that just came out, like Friday, I think. I saw it on Saturday morning, and Batman being one of my favorite fandoms, I guess, I wanted to do a review on it. So let me just look at my notes here. Um, so unprofessional. Let me add this real quick. Okay, so I guess like as a whole, like the movie as a whole, and I'm gonna talk about spoilers, so if you guys have not seen the movie yet, go watch it. It is a bit long, which I'll get into that later, but it's definitely worth watching if you like Batman. I recommend it more to fans of Batman than like people who maybe aren't really into the fandom just because, well, I'm going to get into it, but there's kind of some confusing things that I wanted to just talk about. So I'm going to talk about what I liked first. We'll start with the positive. So overall, it's a good movie. I liked it. I didn't feel like I wasted my money going to see it. I did like it. Let's see. So, right off the bat, I don't want to hear anything about comparing it to other Batman movies. I don't, and I've always felt this way. I just don't feel like it's fair to compare movies like Joker 2019 and the Dark Knight series of movies with the new stuff that's coming out because it's completely different actors, it's different portrayals, they're doing different things in the plot and trying new things, which is not a bad thing. Like let them explore different things. But I hate it when people say like, "Oh, it's not as good as The Dark Knight." Well, they're two totally different movies. Like this movie was not trying to copy The Dark Knight. Like it's its own thing and it's just a different performance. It's the same argument, when people say like, "Oh, Heath Ledger's Joker was better." Okay, that's fine. You can have that opinion, but like it's a different actor. Like he's not trying to be Ledger, he's trying to do his own thing. So like anyway, that's just how I feel about that specifically. So I'm not going to be comparing the Batman 2022 to the Dark Knight series. I am a big fan of the Dark Knight series, but I'm not comparing it. It's different to me. Okay, so another thing I'd like to mention, although I am a huge fan of Twilight, I'm not going to be talking about Robert Pattinson a whole lot in this review. Although I will say Robert Pattinson did a fantastic job as Batman. I loved his performance. I loved what he brought to the character. Some like subtle little things that they brought in for his portrayal of the character. I think he did a phenomenal job. Now, with that said, and I'm not to the cons yet, but I'd like to mention this while I'm talking about his performance. I didn't feel like Robert Pattinson was good as Bruce Wayne. I feel like he was better. He was a fantastic Batman, but I don't feel like he was necessarily a good Bruce Wayne. And I think it's because maybe, like, they didn't do the whole, like, oh, like, Bruce Wayne is a playboy, you know, type persona. They didn't really do that for this one. He was more just like I don't know, like, I don't want to say emo, but he was like really mopey instead. Like, just, I don't know. It was very different from how we see him in The Dark Knight. Not that I'm comparing it, but it was just really different. So I don't really feel like he's a good Bruce Wayne. His performance as Bruce Wayne kind of felt, I don't know, it was just really different. Not bad, but just I feel like he could have done something a little different with his portrayal. But as Batman, awesome. I loved the boots thing. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Like when they bring him in as Batman, that gave me chills. Like I absolutely loved that. And it was nice to see that, you know, as like kind of his thing in this movie, like this new, I'm guessing they're gonna do a series, but um as this version of Batman, that was a nice refreshing thing to see. So another pro, I loved the the guy, I can't remember his name. The actor that plays the Riddler in this one did a very good job at being really creepy and disturbed and like it made me uncomfortable. Like when I was watching it, like him talking on screen, like it did a very good job of making you feel like what's he planning? Like what's he gonna do? Like he seemed very unpredictable. And he did take some inspiration from Heath Ledger, um, when he was like, you know, on the video call or whatever. But he did his own thing and I felt like he did a really good job at just being creepy, ultimately, as the villain. Speaking of villains, I also loved seeing the Penguin in this movie as a villain. We literally haven't had a movie with the Penguin in it since Batman Returns, which was like 1992, I want to say. So, if you don't know, Penguin is one of my favorite villains in the Batman universe, and seeing him in a movie was really nice. The actor that played him did a great job. I loved it. He seemed very much the part. Like he played the part very well, and that was nice. Um, Going off of that, I didn't know any of the actors in this movie except for Robert Pattinson and Lenny Kravitz's daughter, who plays Catwoman. Um, I don't think I recognized anybody else. But this is a pro because I feel like it added to the immersion of the movie. It doesn't take you out, which is something that I've talked about in my other reviews. Like, I think when I reviewed The Meg, um, and this is just my opinion, but I really don't like it when they put all these like big name popular actors in movies that are like either based off of books or like I don't know, like well-known source material, I guess. Because it's distracting. I feel like it takes away from the movie instead of adding to it. And I'm not saying that they do a bad job of acting as the character. I just think it's distracting and it takes you out of what is going on in the movie because you're so distracted by, oh, that's The Rock. Like he's in everything these days. Like it's just really distracting for me personally, but I liked not seeing a whole lot of super famous actors in this movie. Oh, the other actor that I did recognize was Andy Serkis, and I like him. He was in one of my other favorite movies. He's in a lot of movies, but he was in King Kong, the 2005 version, and I love that movie. He played like the cook or whatever. Um, Moving on. It was nice to see them going more off of source material and making this more like a detective crime solving movie. I really feel like The Dark Knight, again, I'm not trying to compare them because they're two different things, but The Dark Knight had some like mystery detective elements to it, but I felt like it was primarily an action movie. And this one was more like, heavy and dark and like more like true crime, murder solving related. And like Batman is known as like the world's greatest detective. So seeing them really go that route, I think was refreshing because I love that. That's the whole reason why I like Batman is because like Travis, be quiet. The whole reason that I like Batman is because of that, like the true crime detective aspect of it. So that was really nice to see instead of just a straight up action movie. And going off of that, there was a car chase scene in this movie that I absolutely loved. I know there was a car chase scene in the Dark Knight series, but like this one I gotta say was probably better. It was between Batman and the Penguin, and it was awesome. Like they did a great job with that. And I think what really did it for me was like all of the sounds, not even like the visuals were amazing, but also the sounds during the car chase and like all the crunching of the cars and all the like metal like the ting noises and all of that in the theater like full volume. That was really fun. Like I really liked that. And like all the fire like starting. Love it. Love it. Love it. Um let's see. I when I was watching the movie, I was kind of glad that they didn't they did some different things with the character backstories in this. And one of the scenes that I'm really glad that they omitted from this movie was the Wayne murder scene. That scene has been overdone to death. Like they did it in, the 1989 Batman, they did it in Batman Begins, they've done it in video games, they've literally done it in like every rendition, the animated series. I am so tired of seeing the Wayne murder scene. It was in Gotham too. They also put it in Gotham, the TV series on Netflix. And I was tired of seeing it. So when this movie came out, like I was waiting for it. I'm like, are they gonna put it in this movie? And they didn't, and I was so glad. I was happy that they didn't put it in there because it's been overdone to death. We even people that don't even like or know about Batman have seen that movie scene, like of the pearls and like his parents getting shot, and then he's standing there like all sad and stuff in the rain. Like everybody's seen it. So another thing, I guess like the last pro that, and then we'll get into the cons about this movie that is just my opinion. I liked the play with like lighting and colors in this movie. I actually went with my mom to go see this, and she's not really like a big Batman fan. She's very biased. She likes the original 1989 Batman, which I do too, but I liked this one a little bit more. But one of the things that we kind of disagreed on was she felt like this movie, it was like, had too much rain. Like it was always like super dark. It's at nighttime and there's like a lot of rain and then like very dim lighting. And she's like, I didn't like that at all. And I was like, honestly, I like it because that's what Batman does. Like he lurks in the shadows. And they used a lot of like reds and blacks and just like grungy looking. It really, Gotham City in this movie really feels like its own character because it's just so, they really paint a good picture of Gotham being like disgusting and just like overrun with crime. Um, there was this cool scene where Batman is fighting like a bunch of bad guys in like this pitch black like hallway, and they use the gunfire, like the lighting from the gunfire to light up him fighting them. and it's like intermittently, so when they stop shooting, all the lights shut off. It's cool. I really liked that scene. The fight scenes were pretty good in this movie. Okay, so that's all of the pros, the things that I liked. Let me take a quick look at my comments. Okay, I don't have any comments yet, but that's okay. Okay, so we'll get into the cons. I wish Batman and Catwoman had more chemistry. It seemed a little forced. I think, forgot her first name. I don't remember her first name, but Lenny Kravitz's daughter, I liked her as Catwoman, but like, I didn't feel like her chemistry with Batman was like that well done. Like, it almost seemed forced, like the scene where they kiss or whatever. I didn't really feel like they had enough chemistry, like, for them to like kiss each other, if that makes sense. And like they teased it for a while, like throughout the movie. And like I ship them. So like you'd think I would be excited about that, but not really. I mean, they kind of seemed like they didn't really, I don't know, fit together, I guess. I don't know. But the first hour, okay, this is probably one of the biggest cons. The first hour of the movie was long. Like, the first hour, and this movie is like 2 hours, 56 minutes long with credits. And the first hour was like super slow paced. It dragged on. And a lot of people said that reviewed this that it didn't bother them. But it kind of bothered me because I was like, okay, can we just like get to the the next scene? Like, it just dragged on. But then like in the middle and near the end, it really started to pick up when they were pulling everything together. And that's the other thing that I was going to mention, is that there are a lot of things going on in this movie. Like, I was confused during a lot of it because there's like little bits of dialogue that I missed. And basically, I would describe the movie as like there's so many pieces, and then they try and like tie them all together for you at the end. But it really, like in the beginning, just drags. And then if you missed a piece at the end, you're like, wait, what about that? So it's really a movie that like you gotta think, because like there's so much going on, which works if it's like a detective movie, like you're supposed to think about it. But I felt confused through a lot of it, unfortunately. Um, and maybe it's just a little bit too long. I feel like they could have fit this in 2 hours and 30 minutes, or maybe just 2 hours. Um, but yeah, it got confusing throughout. Like, I had to ask my mom what was going on because I felt like I was missing stuff, or they would make a revelation and I'd be like, wait, what? What happened? Like, did I miss something? Um, I'm very interested to see where, if they do make this into a series, what they do next. There was some sequel bait at the end of this movie. And since this is a spoiler review, I'm going to tell you right now. So if you don't want to hear it, you've been listening, don't. But there is a hint of the Joker at the end of this movie. And I have no idea who's playing him. It's very dark in the scene, so like you can't really see his face. I'm curious to see if people like try and brighten up the image when it comes out on DVD or whatever. But all you could really see is like his smile, like his teeth are like really big, it looked like. And then you could see like his hair was like spiked up, and he does the laugh. I kind of didn't feel like whoever this guy is, like, nailed the laugh, so I'm kind of worried, like, who's gonna play the Joker next. Kind of wish it was Joaquin Phoenix, but I don't think it is. I think it's somebody completely different. I'm not opposed to it. I'm just concerned. Because, like, Jared Leto, Suicide Squad, hands down, for me, is the worst Joker out of all of them. And I hope that doesn't happen again. I mean, DC seems to be going more careful this time and, like, actually, putting effort into their movies, starting with this one. So I'm hoping they don't screw that up. And there was one other detail I'm going to say before I end this. Um, there was also a plot point that I was confused about and didn't really like that much, and that was Falcone. So Carmine Falcone, the mob boss guy in the Batman universe, or one of them anyway. He was Selina Kyle, Catwoman's dad in this film, and I don't understand why. It didn't make sense to me, but there was this whole, like, side plot of her, like, trying to get revenge on him for, I think, letting her mom die or killing her mom. I don't know. And she was, like, raised in a club that he owned or something. I don't know. It kind of lost me. And when she was explaining to Batman, like, oh, he's my dad, I was like, what? Huh? Like, I don't know if I would have put that in there or not, but whatever. And then, okay, so the last thing I'm going to say before I wrap this up is I need to see this movie again because I feel like I missed some things that I watched other people's reviews, which I really like Chris Stuckman. If you want a good review to watch after mine, Chris Stuckman is a good one. I really agreed with a lot of his points in his review. He's a Batman fan too, like a true Batman fan, so I trust him. Um, but yeah, I was really confused through a lot of it, and I feel like I would appreciate it more and maybe understand more of what they were going for if I watched it again. So I don't know if I'll go to the theater again to watch it or if I'll just wait till it comes out and then watch it. But yeah, if anything changes about my review, I'll give an update. If not, then this is it. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.